Hello world, it's Lee Kelson coming to you live once again from Start Me Up Hong Kong Festival 2019, and we're here at the Connected Cities Conference, and I have with me Mr. Eric Chong, the President of Siemens. Welcome to Beach City, Eric.
Thank you, Lee. It's a pleasure to be here.
So Siemens, obviously massive company. How big is Siemens now?
Well, I mean, massive maybe is too big a word. We are pretty humble, but
Right.
we are, as a company, we have been around for more than 170 years. Heritage German, but multinational now. We have about 370,000 employees throughout. We like to call ourselves as an innovation and technology company, which we are truly is. Starting from energy and how energy is used and applied. So today our business is in different domains, we call it. One for sure, energy generation, transmission and distribution. One, buildings, how energy is used in buildings. We are in mobility and transportation, healthcare, which many people know us for. And definitely, last but not least, we are in factories, where you talk a lot about Industry 4.0. So we are in digital factories.
Right. So I mean that's in my language. I understand your humility, but that's a big company. But you know, I've obviously known Siemens been around for many years. But we talk about energy. Energy is a real challenge for the sustainability and the future of the planet, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, I think if we talk about climate change, ultimately we need to cut down on the carbon that we are using.
Yeah.
And for sure the biggest use of carbon is energy. So there are a couple of challenges, because as the economy grows, you need more energy. Yeah. So how do I have the ability to grow the economy without using more energy? And that's where innovation and technology comes in. We have been doing this for quite a few years. In the past, we talked about automation of the energy grid. Today, we talk about digitalization of the energy grid to basically do more with less. So how can I use less energy to do more in terms of economic growth, creating jobs, and so on?
Yeah. So I recently read The Third Industrial Revolution by the economist Jeremy Rifkin, and he talked about the idea of an energy grid or an energy internet and a transport logistics internet. How do you see that evolving over the next 10 or 20 years?
Well, there are a couple of the trends that we are seeing in the industry. One for sure is decarbonization of the energy system. That creates a few problems or challenges. One is the stability of the system, where you are depending more on renewable energies, and that creates a challenge for most operators. And the way to solve it is you need to change the way a grid is managed. Smart grids, which is bi-directional versus single directional. Of course, you have to come up with more carbon efficient energy generation and transmission system. That's one part. The other part that we are seeing a lot is what we call sector coupling. So sector coupling means that, for instance, in the past or presently, the transportation system is run on gasoline. So sector coupling means how I can electrify more sectors of the economy. Right. Because at the end of the day, if you look at how energy is consumed carbon-wise, electrical energy is still the most efficient. So therefore, there's a trend of electric vehicles. So that would be the first one. I have to say there's a third trend, which is what we call a power to X, meaning that if I have excess electricity or energy generated because of renewables, how do I store them? Right. For sure you have battery systems, but those would not be sufficient in the future. Right. So these are the few trends that we are looking at. First, a bi-directional grid. Yep. Secondly, what we call sector coupling. Yep. And thirdly, this thing about power to X, how can I store excess energy so that I can use it?
So when you talk about bi-directional grid, just explain a little bit more about that to us.
So bi-directional grid is in the traditional system. Of course, I simplified a magnitude of 100, but in a traditional system, basically the consumers receive information from the producer. be it the power company and so on. So one directional. In the new system, it is information flows both ways. So the traditional way where the company is providing information to the consumer, but the consumer in the future will provide information back to the grid. So why do we want to do that? Because the consumer can be part of the whole energy saving system by doing that. So for instance, there are already schemes present in different parts of the world where consumers are paid to use less washing machine, right? Or maybe switch on the washing machine at a different time of the day. But those are fixed time. Imagine a situation where the consumer can be asked to switch on and off a particular machine on different parts of the day depending on the demand. Now you have a truly dynamic bi-directional system.
And that's obviously dependent on the Internet of Things, you know. So, and you talk about buildings. One of the things I was reading is that they're, you know, building, solar paint to create energy. The buildings are being built in such a way that they're creating their own energy, creating excess energy, and then pushing that back into the grid.
Well, I mean, that's that scenario that you're saying is a bit what I said about bi-directional. So if you scale that up from the individual to a building, truly, a building can be a dynamic part of the grid, not only providing information back to the operator, for instance, telling them that, okay, I have low consumption and so on, but also what you said, that they can also be generating electricity by themselves. Truly, in Hong Kong, we just launched this FIT for solar panel. That could be a small way of doing that, but in our scheme of things, in the future, when we talk about smart city, truly buildings, because in cities, in Hong Kong, 90% of the electricity is consumed by buildings. So if the buildings can be a part of the grid dynamically, then it will definitely result in energy savings beyond what we are having today.
A fascinating future. And I mean, obviously these types of conferences and having these conversations, you know, why do you think it's important that we have these types of conferences and be having this conversation?
I think at the end of the day it's about innovation, right? And innovation very clearly is about information exchange, knowledge exchange. If someone says that I'm great at innovation, but I stay in a cave, then that person is untrue, because innovation means you're getting ideas from someone. So conferences like this gives us a great ability to connect, because there's a diversity of participants. You know, we have startups, we have companies, we have government, and I have to say diversity of age too, so you have that kind of diversity. I think that gives us the ability to truly learn from each other. As a company, although we are 170 plus years, there's still a lot we can learn from startups. So, and as a result, today we launch our Smart City Developers Community, because we want to invite startups to work with us together, what we call co-create solutions, and for the benefit of Hong Kong and the technology.
Fantastic. And so if startups want to find out more about that, is there somewhere they can go? Is there a website or somewhere that they can go to find information about that?
Well, if they are here today, go to the village, the startup village. We have a booth ready to sign up. Just put your name there, and go to the Siemens Hong Kong website. We would have a link to
there as well.
Right. We invite everyone to join us.
It's been a pleasure, Eric. Thank you very much for joining us here today, and thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you.
Don't forget to keep watching. We'll be coming back to you live with more from Start Me Up Hong Kong Festival 2019. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel down below.